Big Sills, National Football Show. Welcome aboard on the road to Glendale. You know, I have said a lot of stuff since the beginning of the season. And one of the things that I have to say to Howie Roseman here, you know, and maybe this goes back to my old school mentality and get off my lawn kind of old guy. By the way, Tony Bruno, bottom of the hour, legendary Philly sports talker. And in hour number 2, former NFL Rookie of the Year, works with the Kansas City Chiefs broadcast team. Our friend Bill Moss will join us. We'll get a look at what the Chiefs have gone through this year. That'll be in hour number 2. Please hit the like button. We appreciate all here. Here's something I'm wrong on. You know, I without a doubt did not think, and one of the reasons that I thought that the football team would start out 2-5, I still predicted them to go to the Super Bowl. But one of the things that I said was the lack of practice time and the lack of playing your starters in the exhibition games. You know, the Eagles and the front office and Howie have put an emphasis more on those controlled scrimmages between opposing teams. You know, like the Patriots will come in, or the Browns, like this past offseason or preseason, came in and they scrimmage and they had those controlled scrimmages. And they've really put more of an emphasis on that. And also player health. The Eagles are going to have all 22 starters going into the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. You've got to say that their philosophy of not playing their guys has worked 2 years in a row. They're a relatively pretty healthy football team. Okay? I mean, it's working. It's working. And as I've always told you, when I see something, and I said, I can't see how you can be prepared for a football season when you don't practice anything. They put the players' longevity of getting through a regular season over the preparation, and yet they came out and they went on a win streak right away. So if you look at, and by the way, it's not just 1 year. It's really been 2 years. Richie, I'm going to get to dual threat here in a minute, and my prediction comes through. I'll show you in my prediction on what I'm going to say about dual threat. Kudos to Howie and Sirianni for buying into it, and the owner. Not playing your starters has panned out for the Eagles. All 22 guys are going to be ready to take on the Chiefs. That's pretty dang good. I'm going to make a prediction. When the Super Bowl is over, Jalen Hurts will be under the knife again for a shoulder surgery. He'll be under the knife 2 years in a row. Missed games and surgery. Dual threat. Never sustainable. He's not going to get healthier. This is the gamble you take with dual threat. This is the gamble. Remember something. Jalen Hurts didn't get hurt throwing the ball. Jalen Hurts got hurt running the ball. And as Tone and I have said, we thought that number was supposed to come down this year. Instead, it was escalating towards 200 carries. Can't last. Won't. Sills, who's your favorite player on the team? I love Dallas Goedert. I love me some Dallas Goedert. Physical. I'm sorry, and I disagree, and I know 1,000 people will disagree with this. I like him better than Travis Kelce. I'm sorry. I know. And Travis Kelce, to me, is not a true tight end. Dallas Goedert's an old-school tight end. He's more like Gronkowski. He can block, he can catch, and he's got a nose for the end zone. Travis Kelce's like Jason Witten. He's a better version of Jason Witten. He doesn't block well. He's not a guy in the trenches that blows people up and could take on ends like Goddard can. No way. That's not my – again, it's cherry pie and apple pie. Some people probably like the Travis Kelce tight end. I don't. He's not the great. Who would you rather have in a game, Gronkowski or Travis Kelce? Seriously, who would you rather have, Gronk or Travis Kelce? Dude, you can't shut Gronk down. He could blow you up in the run game. Okay? He could blow you up in the run game. Jalen Hurts just needs to be a young Russell Wilson. Got to stop running, man, or you're never going to last. Same thing with the dude in Buffalo. Dual threat under the knife again. Peter King had a conversation with Jalen Hurts. You know what Hurts told him? When he threw that pass in the Giants game, that 40-yard pass, he thought his arm was going to fall off. Peter King, this guy's got a rotator cuff injury. And after the celebration, he'll be under the knife. You can't play as bad as he played in the NFC title game not to think that. He was terrible, as I said yesterday. Again, it's playing through injury, which I admire. Hey, man, I want him out there at 70% instead of Gardner Minshew at 100. Absolutely true. No question. No question. Okay? No question. You know, as we move on here, I will say this to you as well. You know, people keep asking me, and I'm going to go on a show in Kansas City, and they asked me to go on. There's a friend of mine that has a show in Kansas City, and I'm going to do a show there on the radio, believe it or not. And I'm going to go on, and we're going to do, you know, I think 2 hours or something like that. And he asked me out of the gate, he goes, Sills, do you think Kansas City wins this? I go, you know, I didn't think the Eagles could get into a Super Bowl and beat Kansas City, but show me where you have the advantage. Okay, you have a great defensive tackle in Chris Jones. They've got a better D-line. You don't have a better O-line than them, and it's not really close. San Francisco's lines are better than your lines. I mean, think about that, for instance. San Francisco has a better O-line than Kansas City's O-line. And San Francisco has a better D-line than what Kansas City has. I mean, Bosa and Chris Jones, okay. After that, who? I think even the Eagles have advantages at linebacker over Kansas City. Your secondary surely has the advantage. Wide receivers, show me where, I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster is not an advantage over Devonta Smith. I mean, get this. Juju Smith-Schuster is a number 3 on the Eagles. He's a number 3 dude. I mean, maybe a 4th option because of Goddard. I don't see it. The O-lines? No way. The running game? No way. Even Gainwell. Where's your advantage? Tight end? Okay. National media thinks it's Travis Kelce. I think it's Goddard because he does more in the run game. I'm going to say this to you guys here, man. If Kansas City can't stop the Eagles' run game, that's a blowout. Where do you see them stopping Philadelphia's power game? Where? Well, they stopped the Bengals. The Bengals have the shittiest O-line in the NFL. They had 3 dudes in the game in replace of starters. They stopped the run game. I don't think that's a big deal. Where do you see Kansas City's front 7 stopping? Dude, watch this. Kansas City's front 7 versus the Eagles O-line in run game. I don't see it. I don't think the Super Bowl is close. There, I buried it. Dude, I'd run it 40 times at them. Stop it. Hey, I don't know. You know, Mahomes, the only thing that keeps Kansas City in the game is the coach and the quarterback. Other than that, show me an advantage. Look, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to say this to you guys flat out here. I look at things on a day-to-day basis. I don't look back yesterday. I look forward. I look today. Unless something tragically changes and some guys miss the bus or there's a Barrett Robbins type situation for the Eagles, which I don't think. It's a mature team. How do they beat them? How is this not a 31-7 game? If you have 4 10-plus drives against Kansas City, how does Mahomes have plays to get out there and make to beat the Eagles? I tried, actually, watch this. I tried to make this game close. I said, this got to be. You know, I watched Kansas City, and I watched the 22 of Kansas City versus the Bengals, and I came away. I don't know about you guys. I'm a big college football guy. D goes, preach it, Big Sales. Hey, listen, I'm a big college football guy, and I don't know how much college football you guys watch. Dude, when I watch Big 12 football or Pac-10 football, and then I turn on the Southeastern Conference, it's like JV versus the varsity. When it comes to the domination in the O-lines and D-lines, the SEC is dominant in the D-line and O-line. It's kind of what you see with the Eagles. They're dominant. Kansas City's not dominant. That's not – Orlando Brown blows. You should see him – by the way, if Mulata had a – remember a couple days ago, I went like this, and I said this. I go like this. I go, hey, man, Orlando Brown, he's barking, telling everybody how good he is. Remember I said, well, I gave Mulata a B for the year. You know he's been injured. Shit, man. Jordan Mulata is 10 times better than Orlando Brown. Hassan Reddick is going to have a field day on that guy. Mahomes better be healthy because he's going to get there. He's going to get home. He's going to get home. Honest to God, man, I went through it. I must have watched 8 hours of film last night. And I just went, where's the advantage where they can attack Philly? Philly's tackles played great in the last 2 games. Javon Hargrave is having a special postseason. Dude, he's going to command more than the 3-year, $53 million deal that Howie has on the table for him. By the way, at the top of the second hour, Big Sills is going to go down the line and pretend to be your general manager because all the numbers are out. And you tell me, we're all going to play GM. That's going to be in hour number 2. I've got the complete list of free agents and everyone. So we're going to do that at the top. Fly, Eagles, fly. Thank you. I'm just saying this, guys. Hey, how about this? Even the haters. I said the Eagles would lose in the Super Bowl. Dude, unless Hurts doesn't play well, but shit, he doesn't have to. He didn't play well in the 49er game, and they still put up big numbers on the scoreboard. Jalen Hurts played, and again, guys, it's not because he's healthy. If Jalen was healthy, he'd have put up 280 yards. He'd have ran for 90 yards. He'd have put one of those big games up. I'm not saying he wouldn't have. I am not saying that. He's injured. It's evident. He told Peter King he's injured. This is not me talking. He said when he threw the ball, go to Peter King's website. He goes, that's the furthest I threw the ball, that 40-yard pass to Devonta in the Giant game. That's the furthest pass that I've thrown since Chicago. He's not right. That's one of the reasons, man, down. If you're telling me, well, Jalen's hurt, well, so is Mahomes, then where's the advantage? What does Kansas City have? Dude, one of the magical things that Patrick Mahomes does in the pocket is what? He dances around in that pocket, and he throws underhand. He's ambidextrous. He does all that other shit, and he's a magician. Well, when you take the wheels away and he's just sitting back there, he ain't Tom Brady. He's not Tom Brady. He needs to be, he's like Aaron Rodgers a little bit. He moves around a ton in the pocket. I think Hassan Reddick is going to harass him. Okay? When Jalen wins a Super Bowl, will that help Lamar get paid? Fly Eagles, I'll say this to you. That's a great comment. It's a great comment. But my big question will be, what if Jalen wins a Super Bowl and I'm predicting he's going to have rotator cuff surgery after the celebrations are all said and done? And then Lamar, having missed all those games, I still think that you have to look at the health and longevity. I still think he gets paid, but I don't think you're giving longevity contracts like you do for Mahomes. I think they're 3-year contracts max. Maybe 5 because you want to maybe be able to spread out the money and the signing bonus. Maybe you want to do it that way, but you can't put long-term deals on dual threat guys. You just can't, because you don't want to be tied to that in your cap. You just can't be a slave to that. I mean, if Brady blows his knee out, that affects nothing in the passing game. If Jalen blows his shoulder out, or that affects not only his passing, but his ability to run, because he's dual threat. That's always been my concern about Hurts. You know, and I'll say something else here too. Don't forget Tony Bruno, bottom of the hour. Remember something. Look at Anthony go like this. Stop with the BS on the dual. Dude, it's true though. All dual threat guys get injured and don't have long careers. No matter if you want to hear it or not. It's the absolute facts. They don't have long-term careers. It's not true. You're making it up like most of the Philly media does. Making shit up. By the way, just for the record, 54 million people watched the Bengals and the Chiefs game. 45 million, I think it was 45 million or 47 million. Watch the 49ers in the Eagle game. Just like I told you, they wanted to promote those quarterbacks. More eyeballs were on the AFC title game. And some would go, well, Silzo was becoming a blowout. People don't leave football games anymore because of prop bets and fantasy football. Why do you think they created the Red Zone channel? Okay, why do you think they created the Red Zone channel? What, because you can go back and watch your favorite play? So you can keep an eye on your team and on your guy that's making you money in fantasy football. That's why the numbers never dip like they used to in the past. Prior to Red Zone channel, if you had a 31-7 blowout going on, fans would leave that thing at 10 seconds. They don't do that anymore. They don't do that. They stick around for the prop bets. Like I told you, more eyeballs were going to be on that game, and they were. But people in Philly will tell you bullshit. Well, you know, both got 50. That's not true. I got another question for you here. I got another question. Let's get to vet first. Shanahan had 2 pocket quarterbacks, and they got crushed. How'd they get crushed? They made it all the way to the NFC Championship game. They lost their quarterbacks, and next year they're going to have no money issues when it comes to the quarterback position. And he blows out his shoulder. So what? You're paying him $900,000. You're not killed with that. That's the point, jackass. Arizona is annihilated because they gave that dude $46.1 million. They're annihilated. They won't see Kyler Murray until what? Oh, by the way, that's a great call, D. Hey, if you're Kyle Shanahan, are you really trading Jimmy Garoppolo now? Look at Maurice. Maurice goes, the Niners got killed. And they held the Eagles at 239 yards in total offense. They got killed. Okay. That's how you look at it. Sure. The Niners didn't get killed. The Niners killed themselves. Okay? The Niners killed themselves. And the Eagle defense dominated. That was the game. Not going back over that. We've already done that. I have a question before Tony Bruno comes on. Hey, I do like that. Hey, Mint. That's a great one, man. If you're the 49ers, he's unrestricted and he gets a chance to go because he came back at a reduced rate. Man, if you're the 49ers, do you make a bid for Jimmy Garoppolo and ask him what he wants to stay? Or do you go for Tom Brady? Okay? Hey, Nicole, Hurts sucked in the NFC title game. He sucked. Watch this. Purdy at least got hurt. Okay. You think there is... How about this? Let me ask you something about Andy Reid. You think this is kind of a grudge match for Andy Reid? He got fired by the Eagles. Where do you think this is a grudge match? 5-star just goes, why can't you give the Eagles any respect? I just said you're going to win the Super Bowl. What more respect do you want? I'm not an ass kisser, bro. Okay? Wrong guy. I don't kiss anyone's ass. Well, my aunt and my wife and my kid. Okay? I kiss anyone's ass. You think this is a grudge match? Andy was fired, man. You think he's got any resentment towards Philly? Do you? You think he's got any animosity towards the way how it ended? I wonder if Andy wanted out. I wonder if Andy wanted out. I got to think he wants this. And you're going to see Andy Reid at his best. Right? RJ goes 14 years, Sills. He got tired. Maybe. I don't think you're... Hey, RJ, I don't think you're wrong. I'm just... Guys, help me out. How did it end? How did it end? How did it end for him? Okay? Joseph says, Andy desperately wants to win against the Birds. Never brought us a championship. Oof. Yeah, but didn't Andy Reid turn the Eagles around when he was hired? What was wasn't that gap between Gang Green and Andy Reid? Wasn't that a low point? Help me out, guys. Wasn't that a low point in Eagle history from Gang Green to when Andy was initially hired? Was it the organization not in a good place? D, that could be. Both needed a change. 14 years is a long time to be out of place. But, man, there was a lot of success there. Didn't he change? It was like Ray Rhodes was in there, right? He was in that. Ray was NFL Coach of the Year a couple times in there, so it couldn't have been that bad. Then came those Dream Team signings. Kind of messed the Eagles up. Yeah, they went, hey, can you imagine this? That's the gamble Howie had. Howie was bringing in another Dream Team. This one worked. That one failed. If Reid goes out there trying to seek revenge, he'll be digging a grave for himself as well. An over-emotional decision playmaker could be lethal for the Chiefs. That's my boy Tone saying that. Got to be level-headed here. I think you just got to be Andy Reid. Andy Reid's a better coach today in Kansas City, in my opinion, than he was in Philly. And I thought he was a Hall of Fame coach in Philly. I thought Andy Reid's resume right now is as good as any coach. I gave you the 5 coaches: Belichick, Lombardi, Shula, Knoll, and then Reid. I think he's right there with them dudes. Is he better than Joe Gibb? I think he's better than Joe Gibbs. Joe Gibbs did something that no other head coach has ever done. He's won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. That's pretty remarkable. Okay, so that's a distinct. Gibbs is in that conversation too. You know, I'm going to ask Tony Bruno his thoughts on Andy Reid, because Andy Reid, man, I thought he was great in Philadelphia. I really did. I thought he was great in Philadelphia. Vermeil, another great one. Vermeil changed the entire culture around. It was a shit show in Philly before he showed up. He brought his hard work and determination in the building and changed the entire culture around. Went to a Super Bowl in '80 and lost to that Raider team, which was stacked with Hall of Famers all over it as well. That old line Philly had in the '80 Super Bowl was as good as any. I don't think as good as this group or the 17 group, but this group was great. Okay? Just wondered if Andy would have any kind of animosity and resentment towards the Eagles and making this kind of like a grudge game. Look, I personally think, and by the way, I would look at it like this. I don't think Eagle fans are going to show any disrespect to Andy. I think they give him total respect for what he did. And this is me talking from 30,000 feet. You guys tell me if I'm wrong, because my opinion here is you guys have more of an opinion on this than I do, because you were there. I kind of watched it from 30,000 feet. But for me and my observation, I think Eagle fans revere this guy as the greatest coach in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles. Doug Peterson had the greatest moment as coach. Is that fair?